Welcome to our Greek mythology program. Gathered on our stage today are famous characters from Greek mythology. This evening you will hear from gods, goddesses, heroes, and characters from many Greek myths.
Hi, I'm Teresa Bombastori. Our Greek characters have been getting ready for this evening for quite some time. They have all prepared a bio riddle and have made a project and a food item. You'll get to play a guessing game. On your program are the names of the 5th grade students and the Greek characters they are portraying. See if you can match who they are. We'll give the answers later. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Haley Bonoma. Hello, and welcome to my story. I'm the daughter of Demeter and Zeus, so listen closely to hear my story. Demeter, the goddess of harvest and fertility, had a child with Zeus. That's me. My mother raised me until I was about 17 years old. One day, I was picking flowers for my dearest mother, and I saw the most beautiful flower I had ever seen just sitting in front of 2 thorn bushes. So I skipped on over and plucked it out of the ground. In a flash of quickness and darkness, the bush was pulled out of the ground, and 2 black stallions popped out of the ground. A tall man in a black outfit grabbed me by the waist and pulled me up onto his cart and down into the darkness. I screamed and kicked, but he held firm. After what seemed like seconds, the cart had stopped and I was dropped on a sandy shore. The man stepped down, snapped, and the stallion-drawn cart disappeared into the mist. I turned and saw a massive river. I recognized it from my mother's stories. It was River Styx. That meant I was in Hades. Welcome, a deep booming voice had said. Hades, Pluto, Lord of the Dead, and I was in his realm. Put this on, said Hades, as he put a crown on my head. As I stood up, I realized that he wanted me to be his queen. He grabbed my wrist and pulled me towards 2 thrones. One black granite with skulls for decorative purposes, I assumed. Then there was a purple one with flowers on it. Hades gestured toward the purple one. I sat there every day for the next week, until one day, Hermes and my mother showed up. She was not happy. She insisted that I come home. Hermes addressed the fact that if I had eaten anything from the underworld, I had to stay. I had just eaten 6 pomegranate seeds this morning, so I had to stay for 6 months of the year down in this dump. To my surprise, the next 5 years were not bad. Which brings me to now. Thank you for the time you have taken out of your day. Time is precious, cherish it. Can you guess who I am? Owen Barth.
As I was a baby, I was locked in a chest with my mother, Danae. King Acrisius, my grandfather, had been told by a fortune teller that your grandson will go up and kill you. King Acrisius was so scared that he put my mother and me in a chest and sent it out to sea. The king hoped we would sink, but we floated very nicely. We were sailing for days until a fisherman's net caught us. Dictys let us stay in his cabin, where he took care of me and my mother. I grew up into a noble fine man, and my mom married Zeus, the king of gods. I wanted to prove myself to my father, so I went to the cave of the Gorgons. I asked the gods for help. The gods Hermes and Athena showed up. Hermes gave me his winged sandals, and Athena gave me her shield to help me on my quest. Then I went into the cave of the Gorgons. I used the shield that Athena gave me to look at the Gorgon. Then I went up to her and decapitated her. I took her head as proof. When I was bringing the head back to Zeus, I heard a voice. I looked down and I saw a girl chained to a rock using the winged sandals. I flew down to the girl and asked her what her name was. She told me her name was Andromeda, and I thought she was beautiful. The next thing I know, there was a dragon behind me. The dragon lunged at me while breathing fire. I jumped on the dragon and tried to stab it, but it was invincible. Then I saw a weak spot and stabbed it again. The next thing I know, the dragon was gone. Andromeda and I were safe. Who am I?
Isabel Schickler.
king of Arcadia. He had desired a son very badly. When I was born a girl, he banished me to Mount Sinai to die. After this, I was found by a bear who cared for me as her cub. When I was a little older, I was hunting for food when I was spotted by another hunter. When he realized I wasn't an animal, he took me to his home. As I got older, I needed to decide who my husband would be. I decided to hold a race. Whoever could beat me was clever enough to be my husband. Whoever lost was sentenced to death. Even though everyone knew I couldn't be beat, they still tried and were sentenced to death. After a whole day of racing, still I had been undefeated. I still had people to race. My next racer became Melania. It was pretty clear that he wouldn't have beat me, but I still had to race him to prove it. The race was starting. I had started the race by first running strong. When Melania caught up to me, he threw something. It was a golden apple. It flew off the tracks, so I ran quickly to go get it. Then I went back to the race. Now I found that Melania was right next to me. I glanced at him for a second, and he threw another golden apple. Again, I went for it, and this time Melania was ahead of me. I got ahead of him, and I wouldn't let another one of those golden apples fool me again. When we were near the end of the race, one last apple was thrown. Something about those golden apples made me want to go and grab them. The finish line was so close when I got back onto the track. It was over. Melania won. So Melania was clever enough to be my husband. We got married, and Zeus had turned us into lions for our love of running and hunting. Can you guess who I am? Calvin Riley.
I am a ladies' man, and I love Persephone. I am feared by all of the people from the earth. In fact, they are scared that if they say my name, they will die early. Instead, they call me Pluton. When the earthlings die, they come to my realm. The people of the above must hope that when they were buried, their relatives gave them a gold coin. That is their payment to Charon for taking them across the river Styx. They then come to me, the god of love. Oh no, I forgot to tell you about my childhood. My two brothers were Zeus and Poseidon. Zeus is the ruler of the heavens, but Poseidon is the ruler of the sea. My father is Cronus. He swallowed my brother Poseidon and I, but when we got out of his stomach, we had an epic battle with him, and we killed him. When I started in the underworld, I punished Sisyphus for tricking me. I punished him by having him push a rock up a mountain and having it stay there. I put a curse on the rock so it would never stay. I also have some cool powers too. I can use my pitchfork to make earthquakes. I also have a helmet of invisibility. And guess what? I use the helmet to help kidnap Persephone. Who am I?
Teresa Montessori.
The first time the great king of Olympus asked me to be his wife, I refused. So he created a horrible tempest and turned himself into a little cuckoo bird. I found him outside my window, and I felt sorry for him in the cold. So I took him in my home and hugged him close to keep him warm. Suddenly, the timid little bird turned into the mighty king. The king loved me very much, and I could not refuse his love. I was later asked to be the queen of Olympus again. Our wedding was grand, and Mother Earth gave me a tree that provided golden apples. It was the perfect gift. I had 3 children of the king, Ares, Hephaestus, and Hebe. As time progressed, our marriage started to sour. The king began to have relationships with other people. One time, I became so angry with the king that I left and moved to an island. The king could not stand losing me, so he begged me to return to Olympus. I refused. The king made me a statue with beautiful pearls on the head and silk clothes. The statue looked like a real person. To try and trick me, he sent the statue to my island and claimed it would become his new bride. When I pulled the clothes off the statue, I quickly realized that I was tricked. This made me furious. However, I began to realize that I loved the king and returned to him. As time went on, the king continued to get mad at me. So I convinced many other gods and goddesses to tie the king up in hundreds of tiny knots. The king got very angry that he was tied up in knots. Other gods taunted him. The king tried to free himself but failed. Finally, a nymph felt bad and freed him. The king then taught me a serious lesson by hanging me from the sky. My life was not all about the king. I have helped many mortals overcome difficult obstacles. One example is helping Jason return safely from the search of the golden fleece. I am the beautiful queen of Olympus and the goddess of marriage and family. Can you guess who I am?
Harrison Michon.
I am the most important centaur of all Greek mythology. I am the most known teacher of Greece. My father was Kronos, a Titan god, and my mother was Phaera, a nymph. Other centaurs had the lower body of a horse, but my front two legs were human. I was more civilized and intelligent than other centaurs. I lived atop Mount Pelion with my consort, a nymph named Charlinco, who had 3 daughters and 1 son. I taught many gods such as Asclepius, Ajax, Achilles, Theseus, Jason, Peleus, Perseus, and Heracles. My death was a result of Heracles visiting me. We had supper and wine, but the wine attracted other centaurs. Heracles defended me using poison arrows. I pricked my finger on one and I was poisoned. My healing power stopped it from killing me, but the pain was unbearable. I asked the gods to kill me so I wouldn't have to feel the pain. Zeus killed me and made me a consolation so that nobody would forget me. Who am I?
Ava Russell. Hello, I am the goddess of harvest and fertility. I am the daughter of the cruel Titan Kronos and the friendly and kind-hearted Titaness Rhea. I love my daughter Persephone more than any mother could love a child. One day Persephone was picking flowers while Hades was on Earth looking for a queen of the underworld and thought Persephone would make a fine one, so Hades pulled her into the underworld. I went to go check on her and she wasn't there. I looked everywhere in the garden, I asked everyone, and no one knew. My search party took me to the country of King Celeus, and there I flung myself against the palace wall, rocking and sobbing, not knowing where to look next. You beg woman, are you fond of children? Calls Pallas made from a window. I opened my mouth to say something, but the crying of a child made me keep silent. The king and queen had a new baby son, but one of those babies who never stops crying. His name was Prince Demo. Queen Mediterranean was at her wit's end, not knowing whether he was thirsty, hungry, or in pain. I took the boy in my arms, breathed magic in his face, and at once the boy lay quiet and smiled at me. The queen was overjoyed, but I was even more so. At this time, I was disguised as an old woman. I stayed as his nurse, and the more time I spent with Prince Demo, the more I didn't want to lose him. So I decided to make him immortal. While I was holding him above the magic fire, Queen Mediterranean yelled, "What are you doing? Guard, save my son." Then I revealed my true identity as a goddess and was fired. Soon afterwards, I looked for Persephone, and once again I asked everyone and looked everywhere, but still no one knew. But someone recommended asking the sun, so I went to go ask the sun, and he gave me the answer. He had seen Hades take my beloved daughter, and I was furious with Hades, so I went to Zeus to demand for him to tell Hades to let my daughter go. He didn't. Since I'm the goddess of harvest, I caused a drought. Eventually, Zeus commanded Hades to let Persephone go to save his people. Now Hades couldn't disobey, he was forced to let Persephone go. While Persephone was exiting the underworld, she was so joyful she ate 6 pomegranate seeds. Since she had now eaten the food of the dead, she would have to spend 6 months of the year with the cruel god Hades, and the other half with me. That's my story. Can you guess who I am? field into the furrows of the earth. I must saw the teeth of a dragon from which a cock of armor men shall grow. They shall attack me, and single-handed I must take them down. Heroes flew down and shot Medea with a love arrow, and she could not take her eyes off me. At night she went to me and said if I married her, she would help me complete the task. She gave me an ointment that would help me. When I defeat the bulls and warriors, the king gets his army ready to attack me, and my men are Medea. But Medea knew and warned me, so we rowed the boat to where the golden fleece was. I killed the dragon with help from Medea and got the golden fleece, but I still became a friendless, homeless old man. One day, when I was gazing at my ship, the prow fell on my head and I died. Can you guess who I am? Rebecca Tinkler.
I am the goddess of the moon, hunting, and I protect wild animals. My twin brother was born on an island called Delos because Hera didn't want him to be born because of what his characteristics would be. But Hera was okay with me being born. I once asked my dad Zeus for 3 things: never to marry, to remain a young hunter, and 50 fleet nymphs and nuclear pounds to hunt with. Zeus gave me all that I wished for. My dad kept his promise of letting me never marry. I once promised my hand to a suitor, but I had no intention of keeping that promise. He was Otis, the son of Poseidon. The reason I agreed to marry him was because Mother Earth was mad at Zeus for engaging the Titans. She persuaded Otis and his brother to overthrow Zeus. They built their own mountain as tall as Mount Olympus and told Zeus to surrender his powers. Apollo came up with the idea that I had to accept Otis's proposal and wait for him and his brother on the island Naxos. When I saw Otis and his brother arriving, I changed into a white deer and ran between Otis and his brother. They both threw their javelins at me. I dodged them so that way they would hit each other. They both died and ended up in Tartarus, tied back with snakes. All the gods thanked me for saving them. Another story that might help you guess who I am is about the queen of Thebes named No, who is very full of herself and wished to be worshipped. She said that since she has more kids than Zeus, she should be powerful too. When Apollo and I heard this, we were very mad. Since Node had 7 sons and 7 daughters, Apollo killed the sons with his arrows that brought a painful death, and I killed the daughters with my arrows that brought a painless death. When Node found out, she was devastated. She cried and cried. She cried so much that the gods took pity on her and turned her into an emotionless rock. Can you guess who I am?
Andrew Zavarotti.
Sorry I'm late. I had to deliver a letter to Poseidon. Sorry, it's not easy being the messenger of the gods, or the tour guide for the dead, or being the god of all who live by their wits. Oops, did I ramble on about all my duties again? You see, I have a lot of energy, which is why I can travel through all God's realms with ease. This energy, however, wasn't always used for good. When I was a baby, I stole Apollo's cattle. I made them walk backward out of the field so Apollo would not think they were walking out, but in. When Apollo found out, I gave him the lyre I'd made out of a turtle shell to make up for it. Zeus, seeing my cleverness and energy, made me the messenger of the gods. And once, I bored Hera's guard, Argus, to death. Hera got mad and took me to court. She gave each god a pebble. If they found me guilty, they were to throw the pebble at Hera's feet, otherwise at mine. In the end, there were so many votes for me that I was literally buried in pebbles. Well, it looks like it's time for me to go. I've got an important letter to deliver. But before I go, can you guess who I am?
Joshua Fitzpatrick.
Hello, my name is... Wait, I can't tell you. That was close. Almost told you my name. Even my oracle at Delphi couldn't foretell that. Or maybe she could, but she's a wacko either way. Don't tell her I said that. Well, anyways, I'm the god of art, music, light, the sun, prophecy, reason, truth, archery, poetry, medicine, and agriculture. So yeah, I'm pretty important. Okay then, what's that? You want to hear prophecy? Well, I'm not the prophet, but I can give people the gift of prophecy. For example, take Cassandra of Troy. I gave her the power of prophecy for a kiss. Good trade, right? Well, she saw I was helping to destroy Troy, so she didn't kiss me, and that made me mad. I can only give, not take, so I added on. She was a prophet still, though no one would believe her anymore. So then the Greeks brought the Trojan horse, which was a large wooden horse filled with Greek warriors. And Cassandra prophesied what would happen. No one believed her, of course. And that was the end of Troy. The Greeks' plan fooled the Trojans, and I can be fooled too. For say by my brother Hermes. Hermes was young, fast, and devious. So fast that he stole a turtle shell and made a lyre out of it. He then found my precious herd of white cows and decided to steal them. But, being devious and somewhat clever, he had the herd walk backwards to confuse me. When I found him, though, he was in great trouble, and I thought he should be thrown in Tartarus for a month. But he begged forgiveness and gave me his lyre. Being the god of music, I accepted and took my cows back. Some crimes, though, are not so easily forgiven. Delphi is a large spot for travelers, but my oracle is not the only reason they come here, though. The other reason is the Pythian Games, which is a mini Olympics of sorts, though not even close to their greatness. I had a friend named Hyacinthus who thought very greatly of me. So greatly, he neglected all his other friends, including the west wind Zephyrus. Zephyrus was very jealous of me. So jealous, he thought, if I can't have Hyacinthus, no one can. So when I was showing off my great skills by throwing around a discus, Zephyrus blew the disc at Hyacinthus' neck, decapitating him. I then begged Zeus to bring him back, but he said he could not, so we made a new flower where Hyacinthus had died. It was of the deepest purple, and it was called the Hyacinthus. I was sad for the death of my friend, but fate is fate. No, fate is fate, and she decides when someone dies. So I think it is your fate to guess who I am. Can you guess who I am?
Austin Abbott.
Unlike other gods, I am considered to be the strongest man to ever live. Most of the time, I use my strength to help and save people from mythical beasts. Many people pray so that they get help from me on their journeys. Even when I was a baby, I had incredible strengths. A Greek goddess named Hera sent 2 snakes to come kill me in my crib because she was jealous that I am Megara's son, not hers. But I used my strength to choke both snakes to death. That really made Hera upset. So Hera put a curse on me when I grew older so that I would lash out with my sword, killing imaginary enemies. But I ended up killing my own children. Hera was still not satisfied. So she helped my cousin Eurystheus set up 12 labors that Hera thought would definitely kill him. And if I did not do them, Hera would do terrible things to me. One of the labors was to catch a savage boar whose tusks could pierce any armor. Another one was to kill the Nemean lion. Obviously, I won because he may have noticed that I have a lion on my head. Eventually, I completed my 12 labors without dying. Hera never bothered me again. Can you guess who I am?
Caitlin Jordan. I am the goddess of wisdom and war. I came out of Zeus's head with a roar. I am the mistress of wisdom and arts. Only I can grant you smarts. the sacred bird is the owl, and my symbol is the spear, and my Gigi's cloak. My sacred tree is the olive tree. I actually have a story to go along with that. My uncle Poseidon and I were competing for the name of the city. Poseidon gave the people a stupid saltwater spring. Then it was my turn. I gave the people a new tree, the olive tree. I said to them, the oil from the fruit can be used to flavor and preserve your food. The fruit itself is edible and can be pickled in Poseidon's salty brine. And the city was named after me. Do you know how I got my cloak? Well, me and my friend Paddless were competing in a competition. She loved my father, Zeus, and his cloak. While in a heated spear fight, Zeus waved his cloak, distracting her. But a horrible accident happened. I speared her. I took her name and Dad gave me the Aegeus cloak. I improved it with the invincible skin of Paddless, the giantess. There was one more thing I needed. I improved the cloak with the head of Medusa. She was one of my priestesses, but against my laws of religion, she took Poseidon as her lover. This was hugely disrespectful. I cursed her to be so ugly that anyone who looked at her would instantly turn to stone. Enter Perseus. I sent to kill her with a sword, a polished shield, a pair of fine shoes, and some advice. And the rest is mythology. Can you guess who I am?
Tim Van Gelder. I may not be as famous as my cruel mom, but I am actually a very important god. When my mom said to herself, if Zeus can have his own kids, so can I was born. All the other gods laughed at me because I was so ugly. One day, when I was bringing wine to my mother, which was probably a mistake, I accidentally spilled it on her. So she did what any good mother would do. She threw me off Mount Olympus. I fell for 9 days. It was very dull. When I fell into the ocean, Thetis taught me the ways of the blacksmith. I practiced and practiced until I made the title of God of the Forge. Something else I made was a deadly weapon. It was a chair. You'll see what I mean by deadly weapon in a little bit. I told Hermes to deliver the chair to my mom. The chair had eagle talons on the ends of the pipes and arms coming out of the sides. When Mom sat in it, she got trapped. Suddenly I stepped up and said, "That is for the love you denied me as a child, so now I want a wife. Not just any wife, I want Aphrodite. If you don't get rid of me, you're in for a long relationship with that chair." So eventually, my mom made Aphrodite give in. She cheats on me 24/7, but I don't really care. I'm too busy making tools, weapons, and armor. Speaking of which, I also made Hades' invisibility helmet and Hermes' flying shoes. I also sculpted Pandora, which probably wasn't the best choice. Sorry, Pandora. And, though I'm a blacksmith and not a carpenter, I built houses for all of the gods. Who am I? Naomi Quimper.
My parents were Keto and Phorcys. I had two sisters named Stheno and Euryale. My sisters were immortal, but for some reason I wasn't. I once was a beautiful maiden. Every man would swoon over me, and that's how I attracted an important god. But one day I met the important god in one of Athena's temples, and Athena was furious. She knew that she wasn't powerful enough to defeat the god, but she knew that she could take her wrath out on me. So she turned me into a hideous monster. Everyone feared me after Athena made me a monster. So I found a cave outside of town and stayed there. Soldiers came and were defeated by me, but something happened far away. A man named Perseus went to a party, and for a gift to the king, he bragged that he could kill me. He went to find the gray eye and stole the one eye that they shared. He gave the eye back after they told him that he needed to find the nymphs of the north. Perseus got winged sandals, a magic bag that would grow to fit anything that was put into it, and he got the helmet of Hades that made him invisible. Then he got a shield from Athena. He flew to an island called Orcanos, and that's where he found me. He used the shield as a mirror, so he knew where to strike, because if he looks at me, he will turn to stone. With one swipe, he cut off my head. At the time, I was pregnant with two children that popped out of my head when it died. The names of my children were Chrysaor, and I had a winged horse named Pegasus. In the present time, a jellyfish and a roller coaster are named after me. Can you guess who I am?
Nathan Cole.
My brothers Zeus, Hades, and I were born from our parents Cronus and Rhea. My dad Cronus thought that one of his children would overtake him, so he ate most of his children, except for Zeus. My mother hid Zeus and gave my father a rock instead. My father then threw us all off. My brothers and I drew straws to see who won which part of the world. Zeus won the air, I won the ocean, and Hades won the underworld. Later we all had wives, and soon other gods came around. Then the gods and our rivals, the Titans, had a huge war. Prometheus joined Zeus's side because he could foresee Zeus would win. Fortune was correct. Anyway, enough of that story. Now it's time to talk about me. As the storm maker, I sink boats at ease, but I also create earthquakes with a snap. I have a niece named Athena. I live in the ocean and wield a trident. I almost lived a happy life with Medusa, but then Athena came and ruined it by making Medusa a snake lady. Then my nephew Perseus killed Medusa, and Pegasus, the flying horse, popped out of her head. Also Theseus, my relative, killed the Minotaur. It started when King Minos came to one of my temples and asked for a bull to sacrifice to me. Strangely, King Minos' wife fell in love with the bull and had a son called the Minotaur. Then, as I said earlier, Theseus came and killed the bull with the sword his father left him. Don't ask about it. Can you guess who I am?
Gabriella Cole.
Hello, I am the goddess of love and beauty. I was born in a very interesting way. I was born out of the sea.
born from the sea, I rose out of the ocean on a cushion of foam. 3 graces welcomed me as they bowed, offering me a warm, luxurious towel to envelope my body. I have no real mother or father because I was born out of the sea. I was taken in by Zeus and Hera as a daughter. I am one of the 12 Olympians, more beautiful than any other goddess, and one of the most popular. Worshippers approach me all the time with the need of my assistance to find love with them. I myself is married to Hephaestus, chosen by Hera for me, and we have 2 sons, Eros and Cupid. But I am in love with his brother, Ares. Athena, Hera, Zeus's wife, and I all believe to be the fairest of them all. It was decided to end the argument by asking Paris, son of Priam and Hecuba, to vote on who he believed to be the fairest. Paris entered the room and threw a golden apple onto the middle of the table and said, "This apple is for whomever is the fairest." We all raced to grab the apple and yelled, "It's mine," me loudest of all. However, Paris then told us, "Whomever provides me with the best bride will be fairest of all." I promised him the most beautiful woman in the world. Hera and I made Helen, my half-sister, fall instantly in love with him, and I won the contest of fairest of all. My Roman name is Venus. Can you guess who I am?
William Scott.
I am referred to as the father of the gods and men. My Roman name is Jupiter. I control many parts of the world, including the sky, lightning, and thunder. Like all major gods, I have a power weapon, a lightning bolt. I am king of Mount Olympus and ruler of the world. I was the last child of Cronus and Rhea. I also was the only one who Cronus did not swallow. He ate a rock instead of me. Tasty, right? Anyway, I tricked Cronus into throwing out my siblings. In return, they sided with me in a war against our father and his fellow Titans. We won and took control of the world, which I shared with Poseidon and Hades. Later on, I married Hera and had 2 boys, Hephaestus and Ares. But I had many other wives and children. I had the archery twins, Artemis and Apollo, with the Titan Leto. I have many more families, but the list is too long to name them all. A lot of people down on Earth believe the gods ruled every part of their lives. Crazy, right? Oh wait, it's true. We, or I should say I, made the laws for gods and humans. I made people keep their promises. I protected all the travelers and beggars, but I punished all wrongdoers. I punished Prometheus by chaining him to a rock, and every day, my sacred animal, the eagle if anyone was wondering, came and ate his liver. He got this cruel punishment because he gave fire to earth when you mortals weren't ready for the responsibility. Finally, I was so fierce and scary that humans would give sacrifices of meat to me and my family. Now that I've told you a lot about me, can you guess who I am?
Evan Hansen.
I don't know how to bring the fire down to earth. I felt bad for humans because they are pathetic and naked. They also had no idea how to kill animals nor cook them for food. I stole the fire from Apollo's sun chariot so the people on earth could learn how to use it. I taught them how to hunt and cook for food. When I gave the humans meat, I put bones on top and lots of meat on the bottom so they would have lots of food to eat. When Zeus came down to Mount Olympus, he wanted to punish me for giving the fire to humans. He thought the humans would overrule the gods and become too powerful. While he was down here, I assumed he wanted to punish me, so I tricked him into taking some meat. I put a little meat on top and lots of bones under me. Zeus willingly took the meat, not knowing about my plan. When he arrived at Mount Olympus, he had figured out that I had tricked him. He then, sometime later, came back down to earth and punished me by chaining me to a rock and having an eagle rip out my liver every day. Since I was immortal, my liver grew back only to be torn out over and over again. And the rumblings of me is the reason why we have earthquakes.
Ava Senior.
I I was the first goddess ever created. The gods and goddesses created me. Hephaestus carved me out of a block of white marble, made my lips out of red rubies, and my eyes out of sparkling sapphires. The four winds breathed life into me. The goddesses gave me silvery robes and a crown of gold. They blessed me with many gifts. Aphrodite gave me great beauty, and the other gods and goddesses gave me the talent for music, happiness, the power of persuasion, and most importantly, curiosity. The last gift I was given was from Zeus. He gave me a sealed chest and told me never to open it. When my friends came over, they asked to see the inside of the chest, but I explained to them that I just couldn't open it. They tempted me so much I started dreaming about the chest. One day I wanted to open it so much I started to walk over to my shelf to get the key, but then I heard my husband, Epimetheus, enter the house. I went out later that night and I thought about the chest the whole time. So I rushed home and started unlocking the chest, but before I could, I heard voices coming from it saying, "Hurry, hurry, we've been waiting so long for you to open the chest." Then I suddenly moved away from the chest. I took a minute and then I slowly moved back and opened it. 11 biting, stinging insects called the Furies filled the room. I tried to slam the chest shut, but it was too late. The Furies started stinging and biting me, and for the first time ever, I was furious. Before I could get the Furies, they were already out of the house, bringing pain, unhappiness, and evil to the world. I started crying, and then I heard a little cute voice calling from the chest saying, "I'm the only one that can help," but I told myself not to open the chest. But it kept on calling, and so I did, and a tiny creature named Hope flew out and went to heal the pain that the Furies had left. Oh, look at the time. I have to go polish my chest. Can you guess who I am?
Hi, I'm Austin Abbott. Now it's time to check your answers and see how many Greek characters you guessed correctly. The host will introduce the students again as their character.
Haley Bonomo as Persephone. Owen Barth as Perseus. Isabel Schickler as Atalanta. Calvin Riley as Hades. Teresa Montessori as Hera. Sean as Chiron. Ava Rebel as Demeter.
Hayden Peterson as Jason. Rebecca Tinkler as Artemis. Andrew Zavarotny as Hermes. Joshua Fitzpatrick as Apollo. Austin Abbott as Hercules. Caitlin Doherty as Athena.
Tim Van Gelder as Hephaestus. Naomi Quintal as Medusa. Nathan Hope as Poseidon. Gabriella Culleton as Aphrodite. Liam Starr as Zeus. Evan Hansen as Prometheus. Ava Seaman as Pandora. Students have made a project and a food item. You can learn more about our Greek guests by visiting their tables, asking questions, and sampling their food items. Please enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you for coming.